Hyundai Ford Field Super Bowl 40. Facing the NFL's stingiest defense, the team rallied around their brilliant offensive coordinator who outwitted his opponent for 60 minutes. The opposition's defense seemed clueless as they were scored on time and time again. With the Lombardi Trophy now on his resume, this coordinator will take the helm as a head coach. Let's take a closer look at the offensive architect.
Welcome to the 2006 NFL Draft.
What an exciting draft, folks. We're going to look back on this draft one day and complete all. Having two teammates, Bush and Line, are going to top 10 is unheard of. The USC football program is loving it. Also, in addition to the three Trojans, we have Vince Young. Some teams love him. Some teams don't even think he'll be a quarterback in 3 years. Many questions surround the game-breaking Vince Young, and it should be interesting to see who snags him. We also have a couple of spectacular ACC athletes this year in Mario Williams and Vernon Davis. Williams, a defensive end from NC State, and Davis, a tight end from Maryland, are both amazing physical specimens. Let's tune in now to hear the first pick.
Houston is on the clock first.
What do you need? No.
The Texans have just made their pick. New Orleans is up next. You have to respect the gutsy pick here. Sure, Vince Young is an outstanding athlete. He put together one of the best single-game performances in college football history, but there were still a lot of question marks. Everything from his throwing motion to how he will do under center. He took almost every snap at Texas from the shotgun, and it will be interesting to see how he adapts to the NFL playbook. Is Vince Young a project? Yes, he is, but what rookie quarterback isn't a project? Down the road, this pick might look like the result of a lot of Rose Bowl hype, or it could be the best pick in the whole draft. We know that Young has the physical tools, great size and strength, strong arm. Turns into a running back when he crosses the line of scrimmage. They all love this about Vince Young, and I can tell you that they are thrilled to have him at this pick. Well, it was only a matter of time before A.J. Hawk was drafted. Hawk, the 2005 Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, was the only player in this draft besides Reggie Bush to be unanimously selected on the Associated Press All-America team. He has great instincts and is always around the ball. Hawk makes plays all over the field and closes very fast. You have to love the intangibles. He's tough, competitive, and works as hard as any linebacker out there. He'll have a tougher time in the NFL taking on offensive linemen versus the run, but I think that's true with any physical linebacker coming out of college. This defense is already drastically improved by just adding Hawk to the lineup. There we go, Mario Williams. I love this kid. We knew he wouldn't stay on the board long. He's an amazing natural athlete at defensive end in the Julius Peppers mold. Remember, at 6'7", 295, he has excellent size and long arms. As I said, best defensive end prospect drafted since Peppers in 2002. He's the type of player who can take over a football game, and I don't think he's anywhere near his full potential yet. That's a scary thought considering he had 13 sacks last season as a junior. His only question marks are his consistency and his motor. He doesn't always give you his all on every play, but I think you'll see that change with better coaching at the next level. The Jets have announced their selection. The Packers select next. Vernon Davis. I like this pick a lot. You get value. Also, when it comes to speed and strength combined, Davis is the best athlete out of anyone in this draft class. This kid rewrote the weightlifting record book at Maryland, and he blazed a 4.38 in the 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine in February. Oh yeah, I almost forgot about his vertical. Vernon Davis leaps over 40 inches high. This is not your typical tight end. Vernon Davis will pose many mismatch problems for defenses. He will easily be the fastest tight end in the NFL next year. However, that doesn't mean he is limited to only playing tight end. At Maryland, he was used primarily as a tight end, but he also lined up at wide receiver and fullback while racking up 871 receiving yards. His only weakness is his blocking, which he actually has improved each year in. Davis has great potential and huge upside. I'm really anxious to see him play at the next level, and I think this is a great fit. San Francisco has revealed their latest pick. The Raiders are up next. By drafting Haloti Ngata, they're getting more than just a big guy who clogs up the middle. He'll be making plays in the backfield. He's a tough, strong, athletic defender who should make a big impact as a run stopper and pass rusher. Ngata is a very smart and emotional player who just needs to learn to sustain his energy throughout the course of the game. Since he was often double-teamed in college, he'll be able to bring that experience with him to the pros. He has tremendous potential. As long as he keeps improving, he'll be one of the best defensive tackles in the game. Oakland has finished making their selection. The Bills select next. Not a bad pick here in the first round. He isn't the guy I would have expected them to take, but he's a proven player who can be an immediate contributor for Oakland. Buffalo has revealed their latest pick. The Lions are up next. This is an interesting player to be picked here in round one. This guy is an up-and-coming prospect that possesses the physical tools to be a very productive player. However, the overall consensus on him is that he's still a project in the works. This is basically a boom or bust type prospect selected here by Buffalo. Detroit has made their pick. Arizona picks next. Solid pick here with Michael Huff. He's athletic, instinctive, and has the versatility for the next level. He played the safety position very well for Texas, but he can make the adjustment to corner if they decide to go that way with him. He's a playmaker who has a nose for the ball. He made a lot of big plays in the secondary for the national championship Longhorns, and once he settles into the NFL, he'll be making big plays there as well. This is a guy who will be a good tackling corner or someone who can come up to make a stop from his safety position. Some teams have been skeptical of Huff and have labeled him a tweener. I totally disagree. There's a difference between a tweener and someone who is versatile. I like this pick. I don't know about this kid being selected here in the first round. He's too inconsistent in terms of his play, but you can't take away the raw athleticism that separates him from other players in the draft. This pick just might work out for Arizona. The Rams have just made their pick. The Browns are up next. We've seen that this kid can compete at the college level. The question will be if this kid can mature enough to be a good player in the NFL and be worth this pick in round one. Overall, this is not a bad pick by St. Louis. Cleveland has made their pick. Baltimore has the next selection. This kid has very good NFL talent, and he's a good selection with this pick in round one. He played on a good team in college and is expected to produce at the next level in Cleveland. The Ravens have made their selection. The Eagles select next. Based strictly on talent, I don't think that I would have taken this kid here in the first round. But I think that a lot of people overlook his leadership ability. He has the heart and attitude to be a good player and really make a difference in Baltimore. Philadelphia has revealed their latest pick. Atlanta is up next. This kid didn't even start for his college team last year, so it may be surprising to see him go with this selection in round one. But he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. I think that once he gets a little experience in camp, he'll turn out to be a good player in Philadelphia. Atlanta has finished making their selection. Miami picks next. Great pick and certainly a no-brainer. Reggie Bush has been the #1 player on my big board and for good reason. They're getting a kid who can hurt a defense in so many ways. I think Reggie Bush's game will translate to the NFL without any problems at all, much like the Rams did with Marshall Faulk. I think we will see Bush line up at receiver occasionally. It will create mismatch problems at any time for a linebacker when they're forced to cover him in the open field. He shows a great burst, very, very rare change of direction, and has the vision that coaches just can't teach a running back. Again, excellent pick here, and I think we'll finally see a Heisman Trophy winner turn into an all-time great in the NFL. Miami has made their pick. The Vikings are up next. I'm not sure if this was a good pick or a bad pick here in the first round. He offers pretty good physical skills, but the decision-making that he had on the field was mediocre at best. He's basically a potential developmental prospect with a decent amount of upside. This selection could really work for or against Miami. The Vikings have just made their pick. The Cowboys select next. A huge chance is being taken here with this selection in the first round. Even though he was more productive last year, he has been marginally productive throughout his college career. I guess one season was enough to warrant this risky pick by Minnesota. Dallas has revealed their latest pick. San Diego is up next. It'll be interesting to see what they get out of this pick in the first round. This kid isn't the best football player right now, but he has the potential to be very good. This is a small risk. It could turn out to be a big reward for Dallas. San Diego has finished making their selection. The Chiefs are up next. This is both a good and a bad pick for this team in round one. I think this kid fills a need, but I don't know if he's the guy I would have taken at this spot. He'll be a good player in time, but I would have liked for them to take someone who was a little bit more ready to step in right away in. San Diego. Kansas City has made their pick. New England is on deck. I'm not too sure about this player being selected here in the first round. He possesses good football attributes and has displayed skills throughout college, but never took his game to another level. He has the physical tools to work with, but that might not be good enough to truly label this as a good selection by Kansas City. New England has finished making their selection. The Redskins select next. Based strictly on talent, I don't think that I would have taken this kid here in the first round. But I think that a lot of people overlook his leadership ability. He has the heart and attitude to be a good player and really make a difference in New England. Washington has made their pick. The Buccaneers are up next. He's a pretty interesting pick in round one. This kid was outstanding at the beginning of the season, but kind of fell off the map in the latter stages of it. He's going to have to be a more consistent player at the next level for this to be a good pickup in Washington. Tampa Bay has finished making their selection. Cincinnati is up next. I don't know if I really like this pick here in round one. Granted, this kid does have some potential, and he's definitely a positive influence in any locker room. However, he lacked the production to truly warrant this pick. I think that's a major risk to be taken here by Tampa Bay. The Bengals have just made their pick. The Giants select next. This kid was an All-American last season, but he's an overachiever at the position. If you base this pick on how he did in college, then I'd call it a good pick in round one. But I think that physically there are some better players in the draft that might be a better fit in Cincinnati. New York has revealed their latest pick. The Bears are up next. This is a good selection in the first round. This guy can come in and fill some gaps that these guys have at the position. Don't be surprised to see this kid making some noise during the preseason in New York. Chicago has made their pick. The Panthers select next. I'm a little iffy about this guy being selected here in the first round. He's had his ups and downs throughout his career. Most scouts don't know what to make of, so I really can't declare this pick a good one or a bad one for Chicago. Carolina has finished making their selection. The Jaguars are up next. It's tough to say what you're going to get from a pick like this here in the first round. This kid was a high school All-American, but he never really came into his own at the college level. I think that this can turn out to be a really good pick or a big bust for Carolina. Jacksonville has made their pick. Denver is on deck. They wanted to add another weapon to their offense, and it's exactly what they got by selecting Deangelo Williams. Deangelo Williams is a very natural and instinctive runner. What I like about him is he shows tremendous patience. Although he has some durability questions, he runs low to the ground and rarely lets defenders get a solid shot on him. As one of the most productive backs in college football history, Deangelo has a lot of mileage already. However, you can't ignore a back with elite quickness. His measurables at the Combine didn't do him justice. Anyone who saw him play in the Memphis uniform knows that he plays much faster than the 4.5 he ran in the 40. As long as he stays healthy, Deangelo Williams has everything it takes to be a solid running back in the NFL. This kid's a tough, aggressive football player, but this was a surprise selection here in round one. I think that there were times when he was just overmatched, and I think his ticket in the NFL might be as a backup for Denver. The Colts have selected their man, and here he is. Seattle picks next. This is a good selection in round one. This guy can come in and fill some gaps that these guys have at the position. Don't be surprised to see this kid making some noise during the preseason in Indianapolis. Seattle has made their pick. The Steelers select next. This kid's a tough, aggressive football player, but this was a surprise selection here in the first round. I think that there were times when he was just overmatched, and I think his ticket in the NFL might be as a backup for Seattle. The Steelers have just made their pick. Houston is now on deck. Selecting this kid is a big risk here in the first round. This is the kind of guy that's going to need a lot of hand-holding and coaching. However, he does possess physical skills that might turn him into a major NFL contributor. This might be too risky of a move being made here by Pittsburgh.